electric format. In the ensuing Feel Like a Stranger, solid wops alternating with crisp notes gave way to pure distortion, the full spectrum of Jerry's various guitar modes. The funky rhythm and blues mix of the now frequently played walkin' blues followed. Brent then shone brilliantly in Hey Pocky Way. Perhaps the highlight of the set was this Neville Brothers tune, complete with a well-developed instrumental interlude, reminiscent of that in Not Fade Away. Ramble on Rose and an ambitious Let It Grow formed the rest of the triad of songs which made up this set's strong finish. Many Northern California fans were thrilled by the first Bay Area Shakedown Street since January 1987. Women Are Smarter seems to undergo slight structural alterations every time it's played. This version, immediately following Shakedown, got the crowd going, as Brent, rather than Bobby, opened with the first lyrics. Then they took a sharp turn and dove into playing in the band. Mickey and Bill's drum segment was heavy on the space and electronics. The Going Down the Road Miracle Fantasy trend, set earlier this year, was finally broken, as all along the Watchtower, Black Peter and a rollicking Sugar Magnolia brought this set to a close. Perhaps the band wanted to play more, or maybe they wanted to supplement the set with a departure from the predictability of the encore. Or possibly it was a way to shake up the crowd. In any case, everyone was grinning from ear to ear as the band broke into a surprise China Cat Sunflower, I Know You Rider, capped off by a One More Saturday Night. Interesting, though, was a slightly more subdued mood of China Rider, as it was now serving to wind down and conclude rather than introduce a set. On Sunday, the winds had died down and the sun was shining hotter. The crowd seemed to be in good spirits, though, as the band hit the stage and warmed up for Phil to open the show. And open the show he did, in most crowd-pleasing fashion, with a splendid Box of Rain. From there, it was a jagged-edged transition into an explosive rendition of Hell in a Bucket. The word was out. To Lay Me Down, not played since 1983, had been performed several times during the recent spring tour. Following a short warm-up tease, the awaited Bay Area resurgence of this soulful ballad was put off in favor of a snapping, upbeat Cumberland blues. When Push Comes to Shove and Cassidy contributed to this ample set's relatively uneventful conclusion. As the introduction of a set is often the spot for the showcasing of fun cover tunes, this was a fitting time for the Bay Area debut of the Dead's new version of Louie Louie, featuring Brent on vocals. The pace quickened substantially for a solid rendering of Samson and Delilah, which preceded a melodic Eyes of the World. Following a short drum segment, an extensive space landed the band back in the reality of the other one, complete with Bobby's extraterrestrial vocal effects. Things wound down towards Wharf Rat and Throwing Stones, which progressed into Love Light at the last second, rather than Not Fade Away. Last, but most assuredly not least, was the encore of Knockin' on Heaven's Door, perhaps the highlight of this set, sung by Jerry with full emotion and spirit. This year's Frost shows were characterized by several surprises, which included new material and unusual encores. The overall comfortable atmosphere of this venue made it, as it has been in the past, one of the most enjoyable on the calendar.
After the show, thousands of exhausted but satisfied Deadheads spilled out into the streets and filled the woods. The party continued in the park as Deadheads bought those last souvenirs and said goodbye to friends before heading home. Some kept dancing even as the park was being cleared. A huge set of speakers roared with Saturday's unique encore of China Cat, I Know You Rider into One More Saturday Night. BGP staff began moving in waves through the park, shutting down the craftspeople and the party scene.
Okay, folks who run this shop, I need it starting to be shut down.
Okay, 3 T-shirts. It's shut down.
Shut it down, friend.
Thank you very much. In order for us to keep having shows here, the park has to be clear. So we have to try to get the people to cooperate, get them to move out, without the police department come in and force them out. So if we go through and ask them to move, the police will stay on the background and they will not bother. They try to give you a chance to get out. But then we all have to cooperate one with the other one in order for everybody to move out.
No, it's just asking the Deadheads to clear the park. It's Stanford property. Is that the police that we're talking about?
They have the Stanford police here. And the Stanford police is in the Stanford rules and regulations that the park must be clear. No. By what time? They didn't set no particular time, but they will if we don't obey them. They're trying to give us a chance to obey them. Then if the people don't, then they'll come in themselves, and then we'll have to clear. They'll take 2 cars or whatever out and bring it off. Thank you. But we don't want that. We want the cooperation with our people. And the people that come to see the show, the people that have in business on the campus, we all cooperate together, and then that make peace and happiness.
We can do it again, right?
We can do it again.
Yeah, right.
Thank you very kind.
All right, thank you.
All right.
It's this subculture that kind of evaporates, you know? It's like a Petri dish or something, experiment. It's really interesting. And it's great to go through it, and then it evaporates, and then it kind of pops up to life in a different part of the country with its own little different spice added to it, or a different environment, you know? And that makes it different. And then it evaporates again and shows up.
Some people needed a little help getting started on their way home.
Hi, welcome to the Dead News. The Dead wrapped up the spring tour with 1 show in Detroit, 3 in Chicago, 3 at Irvine, California, and 2 shows at the Frost Amphitheater in Palo Alto, California. The summer tour begins June 17th in Bloomington, Minnesota. The Dead then hold court in Alpine Valley, a choice outdoor venue in East Troy, Wisconsin, where they'll play 4 shows, June 19th, 20th, 22nd, and 23rd. From there, they travel to a new venue, Buckeye Lake, Ohio, on June 25th. Then comes Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, June 26th, Saratoga Springs, New York, June 28th, Rochester, New York, June 30th, and Oxford Plains, Maine, July 2nd and July 3rd. Last month we reported there was a possibility that the annual Greek theater shows in Berkeley, California were canceled due to community complaints. Fortunately, the shows are on. The Greek theater dates are July 15th, 16th, and 17th. These will be benefit shows for the Grateful Dead's nonprofit charitable arm, the Rex Foundation. Sadly, it still appears there will be no Red Rock shows this year. Considered a highlight of the summer tour by many Deadheads, these shows will be sorely missed. The latest reports from the LA area were that the Ventura Fair Board responded to local business support of the Grateful Dead by voting in favor of their appearance there. However, no Ventura shows have been announced, and the word is that they will not happen. Various rumors are flying as to why, with such community support, these shows were stopped. In other Dead-related news, the Jerry Garcia Acoustic Band returned to the stage April 26th for the first time since the fall 1987 Broadway, San Francisco, LA success. The event was a benefit for Creating Our Futures, a non-profit organization for socially aware teenagers. For the encore, Jerry, Bobby, and Brent close the show with Blackbird and Let the Good Times Roll. And that's the Dead news for now.
Now you have all the latest tour dates for your calendar. Keep those pencils out. As we promised earlier, we have an address for you to write to. If you or a friend don't get Deadhead TV on your cable system, drop us a line and we'll see what we can do about it. If you have any comments or suggestions on the show, we'd love to hear from you. Also, we're looking for video of Deadhead scenes outside the shows as the Dead tour around the country. Mail us a copy so we can share it with everyone. Okay, get that pencil ready. Deadhead TV, P.O. Box 170642, San Francisco, California, 94117. Thanks for tuning in, Deadhead TV. Hope your tape of the show came out pretty good. Share it with your friends, and we'll see you at the shows. Bye.